Welcome back, dreamers and believers in the kind of love that turns a glittering night into a legend. You're in the right place, you're on Whispers of Turkish Stars, where the pulse of the celebrity world beats a little louder and every whisper tells a story. Tonight, our journey carries us over the golden lights and warm breezes of Riyadh, to a gala that promised to honor talent but ended up unveiling something far more intimate. A revelation in the story of one of Turkey's most adored pairs, Urkin Meriç and Hazal. What follows isn't just about an award, it's about a gaze that said everything, a confession that no script could fake, and a quiet promise strong enough to ripple through the gossip universe. Before we slip into this oasis of emotion, remember that your support keeps our voice alive. Subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars, turn on those notifications so you never miss a beat, and like this video if you believe that love can find its way back in the spotlight. If you want to stand even closer to the magic and fuel our deepest dives, our join button is waiting for you. Now, lean in, because we're about to uncover what Erkan saw that night that made him realize he could not let her slip away. The gala in Riyadh wasn't just another sparkling dot on the calendar of the elite. It became a stage for an epiphany that would outshine even the brightest chandeliers. Days after the last flash faded and the red carpet surrendered to silence, the words of Urkin Meriç still echoed across headlines like a drumbeat that no one could ignore. That night, when Hazal glided to the stage to accept her honor, her poise and regal calm seemed to draw the entire room into a hush. Her beauty, yes, but more than that, an inner light, a steady flame, captivated not only the distinguished guests but also, with a renewed force, reclaimed the heart that had never truly left her. The two of them, already a murmured topic in the corridors where velvet ropes draw lines and secrets slip through, were remembered not just for professional triumph, but for the undeniable charge that crackled between them, an unbreakable thread that no distance, no schedule, no spotlight had managed to cut. When Hazal stepped onto that stage, time loosened its hold. It was as if every second leaned closer to listen. Cameras scrambled to capture angles and details, yet there was one angle that no lens could frame, one detail that didn't need a filter: the way Erkan watched her. Those who were close enough to notice said he did not look at her like a man ticking boxes on a proud partner's checklist. He looked like someone who had just witnessed something rare, something that only the heart recognizes without translation. He watched every gesture, every breath, every glimmer of a smile, his chest swelling with pride and a tenderness so vivid it seemed to glow along the edges of his silence. And while applause rolled through the hall like a warm tide, his gaze remained anchored, a promise already forming where words had not yet dared to go. But the real spark didn't set the world ablaze until days later. At a separate event, under softer lights and behind microphones that have learned to love secrets, Erkan lowered his guard in a way stars rarely do. A reporter leaned in with the question everyone wanted but no one quite knew how to ask: what went through your mind when you saw Ms. Hazal that night? It wasn't a rehearsed exchange. It wasn't a polite shrug. Erkan paused, just long enough for the memory to land. His expression shifted, and the playful charm we know so well gave way to something steadier, more vulnerable. When he finally spoke, the room around him seemed to hold its breath. In a tone that carried the weight of honesty, he said, "That night I realized I couldn't let Hazal go." And just like that, a handful of words outshone 1,000 rumors. It wasn't a stunt, and it wasn't a line for the cameras. You could feel it, the way you feel thunder long before you hear it. He didn't stop there. Erkan went on to explain that it wasn't only Hazal's striking presence that moved him, but the way she approaches life like a craft, disciplined, sincere, and endlessly hard-working. He spoke of her dedication as if narrating a private masterpiece, insisting her achievements were not good fortune knocking twice, but the result of grit, kindness, and clarity of purpose. Then he let slip the sentence that ended the debate for anyone still wondering whether this was nostalgia or something deeper: "In that moment, I felt an overwhelming need to be by her side again." That gala, celebrated for trophies and gowns, would now be remembered for a turning point, the moment two stories, perhaps always one at the core, bent back toward each other. Here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, we asked ourselves the question that lingers after the initial flutter fades. How does a story move from a romance that dazzles to a promise that endures? Erkan's words weren't about possessiveness or showmanship, they were about respect, admiration, and the rare comfort of knowing another soul's rhythm. Is the secret to lasting love hidden in the simple act of admiring your partner, not just loving them, but standing in awe of who they are? Tell us in the comments if you believe admiration is the quiet engine of forever. And if our journey into the heart of this moment resonates with you, consider joining our community. Your presence keeps our lights bright and our voices close. What unfolded behind the scenes that night could have been written for the most tender final scene of a romance, but it wasn't scripted, and that's precisely why it mattered. Whispers from backstage painted a portrait of two people who know how to hold each other up when no one is looking. Minutes before the ceremony, while stylists smoothed details and event coordinators counted down, Urkin hovered close to Hazal, steady as a handrail on a trembling stair. He encouraged her through those last preparations, and just before she took that breath that separates backstage from the world, he took her hand, firm and sure, and said the words that could carry anyone across a divide: "You deserve this more than anyone." It was a small sentence in the universe of noise, but in the galaxy where they orbit, it was a star. And after the applause died down and the official pictures were captured, sources say the moment that mattered most unfolded out of sight. As Hazal stepped down from the stage, Urkin was there first. They say his eyes shone with unguarded tears, and the embrace that followed wasn't a performance. No camera needed to be told what to do. He held her fiercely, like a man trying to store the moment in his heartbeat, and he told her again and again, "I'm so proud of you." We didn't get that scene in high definition. There's no perfect clip to loop and dissect. But the accounts, consistent and warm, describe an intimacy that felt like the true headline. Urkin made it clear, maybe not with official statements, but with the kind of gestures that never lie, that walking beside Hazal is not a duty or a competition. It is an honor. And far from feeling overshadowed by the global attention that follows her name, he seems to celebrate it as if every cheer were echoing for them both. Now, gossip doesn't exist in a vacuum, it germinates in fertile ground, and a confession like Urkin's is a monsoon. Analysts almost immediately began to sketch the outlines of a future beyond casual. His phrase, "I can't give her up," has been interpreted by many as the preface to a chapter where the stakes become permanent. And yes, the rumor mill has turned the volume up, wondering if this was the sign everyone was waiting for, the step from what was once whispered toward what might soon be promised. Sources close to the pair say that since that luminous night in Riyadh, Urkin and Hazal have been carving out time that belongs to them alone, building a quiet fortress around their connection against the chaos of overlapping schedules and endless demands. If the photos they share and the stolen glances fans catch are any clue, the chemistry hasn't just persisted, it has deepened, like a song that reveals new notes each time you listen. Fans, ever the guardians of hope, heard more than romance in Urkin's words, they heard intention. The phrase "true love confession" began to spring up under posts, threaded through comments, and echoed in stories with a fervor that felt like prayer. Talk of a future wedding grew louder, not as a frenzy, but as a collective wish taking shape. For now, the couple remains measured, letting time speak, letting actions say what statements never quite capture. Yet every move Urkin makes in the open, a smile here, a gentle nod there, the way he leans in when her name is mentioned, seems to underscore a thesis that needs no press release. Riyadh's celebrated achievement, yes. But the priceless trophy of the night may well have been the rediscovery of a love that refuses to dim beneath the glare. And that is what makes this story so much more than gossip. In a world where masks are currency and performances can feel endless, Urkin's willingness to stand in vulnerability is its own kind of revolution. To look at the person you love, in front of strangers and cameras and lights that never go out, and say, "I can't let her go," is to set down armor and trust that truth can carry you. That is why this moment has found a home in so many hearts, because it reminds us that love isn't weakness, it's the courage to be seen exactly as you are. Whispers of Turkish Stars family, tell us, what do you make of this declaration? Are we on the edge of witnessing a promise that will redefine the year, perhaps even the wedding everyone will be talking about months from now? Don't hold back, your thoughts fuel the warmth of this space. Before you drift away, make sure you're subscribed and that your notifications are switched on so you won't miss the next heartbeat of this story. If this touched you like it did us, share it with someone who still believes that a look can write a destiny. And remember, the join button is the clearest way to let us know that our work matters to you. Thank you for traveling with us through a night of triumph and tenderness. Until the next whisper, stay close, stay curious, and stay tuned to Whispers of Turkish Stars.